Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity beeby dow!
Long ago, in the fictional world of J.R.R. Tolkien's masterpiece, Lord of the Rings happened.
Yep, it happened.
Welcome to American Brews and Tunes. Now talking about classical music.
Soundtrack classical music, that is.
Anyway, welcome back to another episode.
This is episode 114th.
Too bad it wasn't 111.
I know, that would have been pretty fitting.
It would have been perfect, yeah.
2020. Anyways, in case you... Well, 2020 hindsight.
Oh.
I did not elaborate on that one.
You just said 2020.
Made sense in my head, so I figured it would make sense in everybody's head.
Yep.
Why not? Anyways, welcome back for all of you who listen. In case you haven't ever listened, what we do is we talk about two things that we love, music and beer.
Oh, yeah.
And on this very special freeform/one-off?
Yeah, freeform/one-off, yep.
We are talking about the soundtrack to Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
And I believe this is the first soundtrack we've done.
I believe it is, yeah.
And first,
but I mean, there are so
classical.
many. Yeah, true. I mean, yeah, you would count sound like they don't classify this as I guess they do classify it as a soundtrack, but I would say it's classical music though.
Yeah, because it is essentially score music.
Yes.
Sometimes people differentiate the soundtrack versus the score.
Yeah.
For those of you who may not know, which, you know, some people don't know everything. Like if you were to think of Remember the Titans, the soundtrack would be like all the fun pop music from the 70s.
Yeah. Or like the soundtrack.
The mainstream stuff, like stuff that was of bands that they just played their music.
Yeah.
Whereas
a
the
good
score would be the music in the background that's playing like during a game where it's real intense.
But yeah, like real intense, or the sad portion of the movie where the music evokes emotions and sadness.
Yes, exactly. But before we delve into that, let's talk about beer, shall we?
Oh yeah, let's talk about this beer, baby.
This beer actually inspired the music choice for the episode.
Yes.
This is a beer from Westbrook Brewing Co., and I believe we have never reviewed one of their beers on the podcast before. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse.
Yeah. Well, let me tap into my great reserves of knowledge about every single beer we've had on the podcast. Nope. Never have. Never had Westbrook.
There's a first for everything.
Yes. Now, it is called the Gates of S'Mordor. So basically, they say it's a s'mores-inspired imperial stout brewed with marshmallows, graham crackers, cacao nibs, and cinnamon. So it sounds like a banger to me.
Yeah, the cinnamon kind of threw me for a loop because you'd expect marshmallow, graham cracker, and chocolate or cacao nibs, but the cinnamon is an interesting choice.
Maybe it'll be a nice little flourish.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think it'll be pretty good. I'm excited to try it.
Yeah. Let's say we give it a crack and a pour.
Let's give it a crack and a pour, baby. Oh.
All right. So this is out of a bomber-sized bottle.
Yes.
22 ounces for those of you who may not know what a bomber is.
Ooh, it smells so good.
Oh, it smells rich, and it looks rich. It's really
it smells really rich.
This also clocks in at 11%, so it is a...
Yes, it's a special occasion beer that you don't... Wow, this is really, really dark.
One simply doesn't drink a S'Mordor.
That looks real dark. I like that.
It's really dark. It's got a nice, dark, chocolatey-looking tan head.
Yeah.
And it smells really chocolatey.
It smells amazing.
Yeah, it smells really good.
It smells like Mordor.
You mean S'Mordor?
I mean, yeah, I mean S'Mordor. It smells good though. I'm excited to try it.
Wait, did you explain what Mordor is before we talked about this?
No. Okay, yeah. So for those who don't know, because like have never watched a great movie trilogy or like never read the books as children, Mordor is this evil place. Well, I guess it's just a place, and Sauron is the leader there, and it is
Bad Sauron.
to the east of Minas Tirith. For those who care. It's in the
Geographically
east,
speaking,
and
or
that's
Middle Earth.
yeah, and that's where all the bad guy is Sauron.
Yeah, and he's got a big old gate protecting Mordor.
Yes,
And the heroes of Lord of the Rings need to get through the gate. But
yes,
on the bottle of the Gates of S'Mordor, there is a massive gate that's covered in melty marshmallows.
yep,
What a great picture.
yeah. I love it. I'm
I do
excited to
too.
try the beer.
Yeah. So for everyone who knows Lord of the Rings, you'll get a good kick out of this. For everyone else, the beer looks and smells good.
Yes,
Let's say that we give it a cheers and a try.
let's do it.
As we always say on American Brews and Tunes.
Shibbity-boo-doo!
One hatch to rule them all. And down it goes.
I almost spit my beer out.
Mmm.
Whenever you
That's,
said one hatch to rule them all, I almost spit my beer out.
Well, I was going to go down the ring's hatch, but I figured one hatch to rule them all was better.
Oh man.
This is really
I'm gonna have to take another sip because I wasn't able to properly swish it around in my mouth.
Yeah, go ahead and take a sip and I'll give my first impression. So, based on how dark this looks and the whopping 11% alcohol by volume, I was expecting it to be really boozy and a sipper. But I don't, like, I can tell that it's boozy, but it doesn't, like, have that necessarily overly warming sensation. It's extraordinarily smooth.
It's really smooth, yeah. Whenever I just tasted it there, the first thing that really hits you is the chocolate. Like it really does taste like dark chocolate. It's really good. And then
I can't
you
tell
have
if it's
that
cinnamon
overall
or graham cracker because I think both of those flavors come together.
Yeah, I am getting like a really nice bready flavor, but it's not like the normal breadiness that you would get from like a brown ale or something like that. It almost does taste like a graham cracker. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm going to go back in for another sip and see if I pick up any marshmallows.
I'm almost getting like an almond flavor as well.
Almond.
That's the marshmallows. I don't know.
There's a bit of a vanilla-y flavor, so maybe that I could attribute that to the marshmallow. So I think it has all of the flavors that they said that they used.
That they advertised, yeah.
This is a S'Mordor if I've ever had one.
It almost tastes like burnt marshmallow. Think of it in that way.
Oh, let me go back because I mean, like a big stout like this with the roasted malts, the roasty malty flavor.
Yeah,
with that
this has
combined with the marshmallow,
roasty malty.
That makes sense that it would be like a fire roasted mallow.
Yeah,
held.
I'm definitely getting the roasty malties from this.
Like they took a marshmallow and like roasted it in Mount Doom.
Yes, the brewers actually went to New Zealand
and walked the trail to Mordor.
Yeah,
whilst making s'mores. This is very good beer. I like this.
That's not true, but
it could be. We don't know.
I like to imagine that it's true.
Yeah, we're purely speculating, but that doesn't mean that it's not true.
Yeah, I mean, speculate all you want. That's what the imagination is for.
Yes, it is. A mind is a terrible thing to have fun.
Yeah. What's that movie where they say a mime is a terrible thing to waste? Is that
I can't remember. I want to say it's.
I think it's from. I could be completely wrong about this, but I think it's from a Mel Brooks movie, isn't it?
If it's not, then I would be surprised because that's a Mel Brooks joke if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
I could
Anyway,
see him writing that and going to himself.
just laughing to himself, like, "Ooh, that's a real zinger.
Yeah.
I'll put
Mel
that in my
Brooks.
next movie."
What a great director. He's just great all around.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
let's.
I think it's sorry. I think it's Blazing Saddles that it's in.
Okay, I got to rewatch
Anyway.
Blazing Saddles. I think it's on Netflix, but a great movie.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about music.
Yeah. If the beer profile flavor changes to us as it warms up, we'll let you know. Otherwise, let's Lord of the Rings it up, yo.
All right, yo.
So, as a Ute, I was only really aware of The Hobbit because me and my dad had read that back in the day.
Okay.
But I wasn't necessarily aware of Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Like I didn't read it, or I don't even know if I knew it was a thing.
I did read it, and I think the only reason that I read it was because my brother read it, and he was like, "Oh, it's so good, you got to read it." And
I
then
always
if
stroked his chin, like Jesse, you've got to read Lord of
you
the
need,
Rings.
yes, Jesse, you need to read this book. It is what civilized people do. Not that I was uncivilized or anything as a child, but
Just trying to get you cultured a little bit more, maybe.
yeah. So I did read it in junior high. It's actually I'm probably due to read it again. Honestly, it's been so long since I have read it.
Same here. I didn't read it actually until college.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I finally bought the books and decided to read it. But sometime in mid to late August of 2002,
Yeah.
my mom took me and my buddy Jake to Eagle Video, and
Eagle Video.
that is what it was called. It was the video rental portion of Giant Eagle. And for
Yep.
those of you who don't know, if you have a Pittsburgh accent, you would call it John Eagle.
John
That's how you
Eagle.
pronounce Giant Eagle. So Giant Eagle took advantage of that and made their video rental place called Eagle Video. So we went there, and I remember specifically that we rented Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 for the N64.
Oh yeah.
I
Nice.
didn't own it at that time.
Those were the days, man. Going and
really
renting
was.
games from a video store.
Not anymore.
Anyway, not anymore.
We rented that, and there was some popular new movie called Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring. So we rented that on the VHS.
A VHS. Oh yeah.
And took it back. We played a lot of Tony Hawk, but I think we watched The Fellowship of the Ring 3 times that weekend.
Dang. Yeah.
Like I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And then like we put it in and we were just kind of like dumbfounded. It was so good.
Yeah. I know. I remember watching that movie as well when I was younger. I guess yeah. If I would have probably watched it on VHS as well. And I remember the scene when they're in the mines of Moria and the cave troll scene. Like that movie and that General Studio, the studio that did the special effects for that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what they're called right now. Weta or something like that. But that cave troll looks so real.
Oh,
in those
visuals
scenes.
are fantastic, and this is
Yeah.
early 2000s. We think of
Yeah,
a lot of other
I
big movies,
remember-
and it wasn't.
I
Didn't
remember
hold up.
I remember being scared like during that scene when I first watched it. I was like, oh.
It's super realistic, and it
Yeah.
just looks great.
Yeah.
But yeah,
anyway, yeah.
from there on, like I said, that was late to August 2002.
Yeah.
We went and saw all the rest of the Lord of the Rings movies in the theaters because
Yeah.
they were just so great, and I got the rest of my family on board. And it was awesome. Like it was such a fantastic movie.
Yeah. The whole
trilogy.
The whole series, yeah, the whole trilogy is really good.
Yeah. Clearly, Jesse and I weren't the only ones who liked Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. A lot of people liked it.
It went on to gross $2.981 billion.
Wow. The first
that's
one,
the trilogy.
Fellowship of the Ring? Oh, the trilogy. Okay.
Yeah, but that's an insane amount of money.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's ridiculous. But all 3 movies have well over 90% Rotten Tomatoes. As a whole, like the trilogy was nominated for 30 Academy Awards.
Dang.
Which is a
10
ton.
Yeah, 10 per movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
It won 17. It won a bunch of smaller ones that they typically don't show on like the Academy Awards, like best. I don't know. I can't think of off the top of my head. But it won some major awards. Like
yeah, it won a lot of major ones.
For The Return of the King, it won Best Picture and Best Director.
Wow.
For Fellowship of the Ring and Return of the King, it won Best Original Score.
Oh yeah, because you
And
know that music had to be good for Lord of the Rings.
it really did. And that's what leads us here, the score.
Yeah, the score. Howard Shore was the composer of the score.
Have you ever looked into some other things that Howard Shore did? Because
I
I knew his
know.
name from Lord of the Rings, but I didn't really know what he did before.
Well, Steve, I have this handy thing called the internet
Yeah, I have this
where I
handy thing
can.
called the four that I wrote down that I like the most out of all the movies he made. But I mean, you could click through. He has scored dozens and dozens of films.
Yeah, he really has.
Apparently, Martin Scorsese likes him a lot because he did the scores for The Departed, The Aviator, and Gangs of New York.
Oh wow, I did not know that he did the score for The Departed.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do
Huh.
the Dropkick Murphys song that happens to be in there,
Well,
but
yeah,
still,
obviously.
the rest of the music in there is great. And it's like that's a wide variety of movies. The Departed takes place in early 2000s Boston. The Aviator takes place in what is it, like 1920s Hollywood, and Gangs of New York takes place in like Civil War era New York.
Yeah.
And the scores are all
Um,
great in those movies.
yeah, I'm looking on his Wikipedia page, and he has composed the scores for over 80 films.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
he's been around the block.
So to
I
say.
guess.
The musical block.
Yeah, the musical block, the film score block.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably say that the Lord of the Rings is probably some of his best work, or most well known anyway.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah.
The complete Fellowship of the Ring score was a little over 3.5 hours long,
Yes.
but the actual release that you'll find in like CD stores or on Spotify or anywhere, YouTube, is a condensed version. So if you just look up the Fellowship of the Ring soundtrack, you'll find it. And it's about 1.25 hours long. So it's on
Um.
Wikipedia. They said it was for more of like a concert listening experience.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
believe they
Actually,
changed some arrangements and moved some things around and
I will
condensed
tell
it.
you. I will tell you that I'm on Spotify. They do have the 3 hour version.
Yes, that's
They
what I
have
started
the
listening to originally. I was like, I can't
they
sit
have
through
the
three and a
yeah
half
they
hours right
do
now.
have the complete version.
Yeah, you can find it, but the one that sold the most and was kind of distributed a little bit more early on was the condensed version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to talk about before we move on to talking about the music
Uh-huh.
is just how important scores are or music is in movies in general, but how even more important it is in a movie like Lord of the Rings or like Star Wars or like Game of Thrones or like any of those like
Dare
fantasy.
dare I say that the score is almost a character of its own?
I mean, yeah, you could say that.
It can
I
move the
don't.
story. It'll set the tone. It'll alert the audience or maybe surprise, or
Hmm.
it just has a powerful effect that you it's
Yeah,
really difficult to measure.
yeah, and
Like
yeah.
imagine
So
Jaws without the Jaws theme.
yeah, without the da da
It's
da da.
impossible.
Yeah, like that is as much a part of what makes Jaws a good movie as like the shark or the
Exactly.
actors.
Or
And
like Jurassic Park. Like, do you remember
yeah,
when they see the dinosaurs for the first time?
right.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun. Like
classic
every time
John
I hear
Williams.
that, I am transported back to the visuals.
Yeah, and so that's the point that I wanted to make is that without a good score, this movie would be terrible.
Yeah.
Like not terrible, but not as good. And the score, like you said, just plays such an important role in setting the scene, you know, conveying emotions that conveying emotions about a scene in a different way than
Yeah.
just visual,
Yeah. It's
So
very important.
yeah,
And clearly they did a great job with Lord of the Rings. Or he
yeah, they
did.
they
Howard did.
really did. Howard Shore did. Good old Howie.
Yeah. Shall we delve into the music a little bit?
Yeah.
We're not gonna I don't think, at least I'm not going to do
No, we're
full
not doing.
track by track
No, we're
breakdown.
not doing track by track. We're just talking general
Yeah.
stuff about it.
I'm going to go about my overarching thing, and then Jesse will go over his, whatever he has.
Yep.
But the thing that I take away from the Lord of the Rings soundtrack is that there are musical themes that recur throughout the entire trilogy, but I guess they're all introduced here in Fellowship of the Ring. And
Yeah.
I think these are the four that strike me the most, and they're all equally important.
Okay.
And I gave them my own names, so
Okay.
I'll just dive in.
All right. Yeah. Sounds good.
The first one would be the innocent theme,
The innocent theme,
and this is
the stuff they use in like the
like any
Shire and
Shire stuff or hobbits, or even when like moments where there will be moments of like extreme peril, and then Gandalf will look over to Frodo, and he just gets touched by how brave Frodo is, or something like that.
yeah.
It's that calming theme that's like that. I think when you hear it the first time, it's played on like an Irish flute or
Yeah, like do do
a pan
do
flute or something.
do 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 do
Do, 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 do,
do
do,
do do do.
do.
Yeah.
It's a great
Uh,
theme. It's played on multiple instruments and comes back certain times. And I
yeah.
think the effect that that has is it lightens the mood, and it just kind of reminds you of the characters, I think.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with you on that. I think that is one way that Howard Shore like really does impact the film is that like he does kind of have like different motifs and whatever however else you want to describe that
Mhm.
for different characters or different settings or yeah, like each individual place. Like the elves' music is different, the human music
Mhm.
is different, dwarven music
Mhm.
is different.
He was very aware of
Obviously,
that, I
like
think.
Sauron's music is different, and they all use different. Yeah, I guess like different motifs or different styles of writing, different time signatures, different
Mhm.
instrumentation that all plays in so well to building the musical world of Lord of the Rings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The second theme that I pick up on is the mysterious theme.
Ooh.
Ooh. And I think this plays out through a bunch of different parts. It's the one that kind of goes do 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 do.
Yeah.
And I
Do
think that
do
comes in
do
like
do
when they'll tell like
do.
stories of prophecy, or when someone's explaining something, or maybe
Yeah,
when something mysterious happens, or like someone's lurking. It's this kind of strange theme that comes back plenty of times, but it's very memorable.
yeah, definitely.
Really a cool theme. The third
And that
theme gets a. Unless you had something else to say about that one.
that theme is generally used. Is it generally used in the context? I haven't watched the movie in a long time. But is that generally used in the context of like the quote unquote evil characters, or is it
Not
also
not
used
always.
with? Okay,
Not always. Like I think you get that for like Gollum, or when they're explaining like where the rings came from, or any
okay,
backstories.
yeah, yeah,
It's a little ominous though, for sure. So I
definitely,
think
yeah,
sometimes there are unsavory characters that it comes into play with. But the next
right,
theme definitely comes in with bad characters. I call this the
yes.
Doom theme.
Oh, I think I know what you're
Um,
going to talk about, and I agree.
Probably
And I agree.
it. I mean, there's a lot of different variations of it, but the one that I pick up the most is it's got these. I don't know if it's French horns or some kind of low sounding horns that like have a descending sound, like the dun dun dun
Dun,
dun.
dun, 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 dun,
And there are
dun.
other
That one,
horns that
right?
play over top of it, and then a choir that comes in.
Ba, ba,
A
ba.
really ominous sounding choir that's almost reminiscent of Duel of the Fates from Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's usually always when Saruman or Sauron's there, or a Belrog's coming to chase
to
the.
try to kill Gandalf,
Yeah.
but too bad he
I
is
guess he
the
did technically kill. Well,
owner of the Flame
he
of Arnor.
assisted in killing Gandalf the Grey. If we want to get
True.
into it.
I mean,
But
yeah, that's for a different episode. Maybe we'll do some episodes just talking about Lord of the Rings.
maybe we could do that. That would be a long podcast.
It would, yeah.
But it's a great theme, and it's really ominous sounding. It's like I don't really have a much better word than ominous and dark sounding. It's a
Um,
great bad guy song.
yeah, the thing that I would add to what you're gonna say, unless you're gonna mention it later, is there's specifically in the Fellowship of the Ring, there's like a song for wherever Saruman is. I can't remember what that Isengard
Hmm.
for like whenever you're in Isengard and you're with Sauron, and he's like plotting, with his Uruk-hai or
In the
whoever
shadow.
else. Yeah. Howard Shore specifically uses the time signature 5/4,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and um, so and I believe he splits it up into 1 2 3 1 2. So it's like the ba 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 ba
Bum,
ba.
bum, bum.
So like
Yeah.
and I think that generally only happens in Isengard,
Well, it's
at least in that movie.
a great theme.
And yeah, like
It does
that
come back in
really,
other movies, but I mean, there are other
yeah, like
Isengard
that,
scenes in other movies too.
yeah, that specifically, like that time signature really drives
They're
the
taking the
intensity of
hobbits to
those moments.
Isengard.
They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. Don't need to
Isengard.
bring
Sorry.
that up right now.
Sorry, it just popped up in my head.
But yeah, that does happen. The music that you were talking about,
Mhm.
the
And
5/4 time signature in that portion is huge to the
the
feel of
final
that
theme,
music.
and I'm sure you can think of it if you like. There's only one other major thing that would pop into my head that I haven't said yet, and I would call it the heroes theme.
Heroes theme. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this is probably the most like regal and inspiring sounding one. It's the dun dun da 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 da
Yeah.
da 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 dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say exclusively it's used for this, but it's always like popping up when the good guys are killing it.
Yeah, it like pops
Sometimes
up.
killing it literally.
Yeah, like if they're in a battle and you see like the camera goes towards Aragorn and he's like charging towards the enemy,
Hmm.
or some horsemen from Rohan are charging into battle, like this is the music that they play over
Epic
that.
sounding. It's like a really
Yeah,
epic sounding
real epic.
movement. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like meant to convey like this like powerful moment for that character, I guess.
If you've
Like
never heard it, you could go to the 1 minute and 15-second mark of the song "The Ring Goes South," and you'll be blasted with it.
okay.
It'll blast you.
Take
Not you
notes,
specifically,
everybody.
Jesse. Listeners,
Yeah,
you know the song.
I do, yes.
So basically, those. And granted, there are definitely way more musical moments that happen, come and go, and reoccur throughout this movie and the rest of the trilogy. But those are the four that strike me the most.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. Like that was basically what I was going to touch on as well. Is that just the fact that Howard Shore does such a great job of having these motifs play out in the situations and have them they're so impactful
They really
um,
are.
when paired with the acting and the
Mhm.
all the different angles that they use in the movie and whatnot.
On a completely unrelated note,
Yeah.
on Fargo season 3,
Okay. Is this the Fargo with who is the actor? Is it Chris Rock?
he's in Fargo season 4.
Oh, okay.
Every season is its own story. Definitely worth a
Mm,
watch if you've never checked it out, and if
okay.
you like dark comedies and the Coen Brother esque movies and stuff. But in season 3, at the very beginning of one of the episodes,
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton starts the narration, and he introduces every character who that you already know. You've been watching the show. It's like maybe halfway through the season, and
Okay.
he kind of goes over every character and says, "For this character, we'll play the oboe because it is the sound that this character would." I don't know how he explains it, but then they play that theme of that character.
Over the actual character. That's funny.
Yeah. And then he introduces all the sounds that go with each character.
Huh.
And as the episode progresses, every time a character is on screen, even if it's like super light in the background, they're like
They'll have those
comes in.
themes.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
it's pretty cool, really cool. So it's not necessarily 100% like this, but kind of that idea where you
Yeah,
have
yeah, same idea where
like musical ideas that relate
yeah,
to characters or situations.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean I think that is kind of the function of a score, right?
Yeah,
It's not just to write, a catchy melody or whatever, like the Shire theme.
yeah, it's
Um,
functional as well.
yeah, it's very, very highly functional. And there's definitely a reason why they got the Academy Award for Best Score.
Hmm. I mean, there's other great scores too, like the first Pirates of the Caribbean had some great stuff. I can't remember the guy's name who did that,
I don't know.
but it's not John Williams. But John Williams is a score
He
fiend.
is, yeah, he is the master of writing a very simple melody that defines a series,
Mhm.
defines I mean, like he did Star Wars, he did the first few Harry Potters.
Indiana Jones,
Yeah, he's done
Superman,
so
so
many
many
huge
great
scores.
ones. Yeah. But scores, like we had said earlier, it doesn't necessarily make the movie, but it can definitely contribute to the movie's success
Yeah, for sure.
or
I mean,
detriment.
yeah, I mean, just imagine like any scene in Lord of the Rings without the music, and you're like just
It's,
imagine the Shire, right? Without the do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do.
you
Without
can't.
that, you're just like, yeah,
Tied. It's
yeah.
forever
There's
tied to
no,
the movie.
yeah, there's never going to be a different sound that applies to the Shire for me. Like if they remake Lord of the Rings in the future, I don't think that they'll be able to change the soundtrack. You know?
No, they'd have to do something. I don't know because I think they're trying to make a TV series out of it. We'll see if it
Yeah,
actually happens, but
yeah,
I don't know. The movies are fantastic.
yeah.
A lot of these musical themes have come up in the unfortunate Hobbit trilogy as well.
I like that you preface that with the unfortunate Hobbit trilogy.
I recently rewatched it, and
It's just not good.
there are some redeeming elements to it.
There are, but it's just not good though.
Visually, it's just more cheesy.
Yep.
Like it's
They
odd choice,
did.
but that's neither here nor there, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think they used as much practical stuff
No, they didn't.
in the Hobbit trilogy, and they didn't need to make it a trilogy, man.
Yeah.
That had
They
to be.
made it one movie.
I feel like that had to be some sort of corporate thing.
It was a money grab.
Yeah, just based on how well Peter Jackson and his other writers did the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like
Guillermo del
I
Toro was supposed to do The Hobbit, and then he either got fired or quit real close to when they were filming. So Peter Jackson had to jump on board. And I think he said in an
oh
interview once, he's like, we were so unprepared to the point where I didn't even know the script we were filming till the day of.
oh my gosh.
So he was handed
He
he
was
was not
handed
success.
he was handed a flaming bag of poop.
Yeah. But like I said, there are redeeming value. Like there's like you can go back and rewatch it, and there are some good stuff that you can take out of it.
Yeah.
Like I think Martin Freeman was a great Bilbo.
Yeah, I agree.
I liked him a lot. There was some of the dwarves I really liked, but all in all, it
All in
doesn't hold a
all in all,
candle.
they tried to make it like a Hollywood movie, basically. Like a
They failed.
yeah, they failed. It was bad. Anyway,
But Lord,
enough about
Lord of the
that.
Rings is great. The soundtrack's great. What do you
Yeah.
think about this beer now that it's warmed up quite a bit?
Well, I still have most of it left. But it is still just as good as when we first opened it.
Yeah. It's got a real nice velvety mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't talk about that, I think, when we first were talking about how it tasted, but it's
Yeah,
really
I would
nice.
agree with that. Like it's yeah, it's really smooth. It has that really nice warm like liquor feeling, like the
Mhm.
high booze content. Like
Great
keep
dessert.
yeah, for sure. It if you ever find it, Gates of S'Mordor, check it out.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
good.
Looking forwards to next week. I don't know what we're going to do.
Hey, it's a surprise.
It's a surprise to you and to us as well.
You'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, but it'll be something good. Of that, I can guarantee.
Yeah, definitely.
If you have any,
Closing thought for me
yep.
on the whole episode in general.
Mhm.
Just really appreciate how scores affect a movie. You know, that's pretty much it. And that I just love Lord of the Rings. Those are the only two things for me.
I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And if you haven't ever listened to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, instead of listening to the soundtrack, just go watch the movie.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, watch the extended versions. They're much better than the original. And then yeah, after you've watched them enough, you know the music enough, you can just listen to the whole soundtrack and enjoy it for 3 hours
3 hours. Oh my gosh.
per movie.
I feel like even after watching the movie once, you'll be acquainted enough with the music because a lot of it comes back multiple times.
Yeah, definitely. But either way, thanks
Either
for
way,
joining us.
if you want to reach out, give us some constructive criticism,
Some
comments,
constructive compliments,
want to
maybe.
say hello, if you want to recommend an album for us to review,
Yeah, that's true. We do that.
we
If
do
you guys
that.
want to tell us to listen to your least favorite album or your favorite album,
We will
or
review
if you want us to
almost
listen to
anything.
country, you can
We'll do it.
recommend that as well.
We'll do it. You can look us up on any of the social medias, American Brews and Tunes, or you can send us an email at americanbrewsandtunes@gmail.com.
Yes.
What
Well,
say that we
I am not going to
finish
finish this beer. I'm
at
going to
least a
have
sip?
one.
Let's have another sip of this
I'll have
beer.
another sip whenever we cheers, but I still have a full pint glass of it.
So do I. As we always say at American Brews and Tunes.
Shibbity-boo-pow!
One
Cheers.
hatch to drink them all.
It's really good.
I'm going to enjoy
really
drinking this
tasty.
the rest of however long it takes me to drink it.
Yeah, I think it'll take me a while to finish it.
Once again, my name is Stephen Johnston.
My name is Jesse Titus.
And this is American Brews and Tunes.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-da.